What if every step mattered? Not just the ones where the world claps for you, not just the big wins, the viral moments, the days where you feel invincible. I'm talking about the forgotten steps, the invisible ones, the lonely ones, the moments in the dark when no one is watching and the silence is screaming louder than any crowd ever could. What if those steps were the ones that shaped your destiny? Because they are. Every inch forward when it feels like nothing's moving. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, purpose over pleasure, intention over impulse, those moments are the bricks of greatness. They don't come with confetti, they come with doubt, repetition, and the echo of your own voice whispering, "Keep going." Success is never one big move. It's 1,000 silent steps. And you've been tricked into thinking that greatness is a lightning bolt. That one moment, one day, one miracle will strike, and everything will change. But look deeper. Edison tried over 10,000 times before the light stayed on. That wasn't luck. That was persistence etched into eternity. And yet, we wake up each day, wishing the mountain would shrink instead of strengthening our legs. We beg for the path to be easier when we were born to climb. We envy the harvest of others while refusing to till our own soil. But let me ask you this. What if this very moment, this heartbeat, this breath, this quiet hour where it seems like nothing's happening, is the moment that makes everything else possible? Would you still treat it like it doesn't matter? You see, every empire that ever stood tall started with a single brick laid by a pair of trembling hands. Abraham Lincoln, broke and broken, lost election after election before history wrote his name in granite. Oprah was told she was unfit for television. Walt Disney was fired for lacking imagination. They were told no. The world looked at them and saw nothing. But they saw something. They believed their steps mattered. Even when the world laughed, even when failure tasted like ash in their mouths, they kept walking. Because here's the truth. No one wants to say out loud, you are either building your future or you are burying it. Every moment is a chisel. Every step is a stroke of the brush on the masterpiece that is your life. And you don't get to skip ahead. You don't get to fast forward the struggle and still keep the strength. You must live every step with intention, with fire, with clarity. And that starts in the mind. Mindset isn't a buzzword. It's the battleground. The war isn't out there, it's in here. Between the thoughts that build and the thoughts that break. Between the voice that says, I can't, and the one that whispers, just one more. If you don't train your mind, the world will train it for you. And make no mistake, it will not train you to rise. It will train you to settle, to scroll, to stay silent, to wait. But you weren't built to wait. You were built to wake up. To rise with the conviction of a soul that knows its power. To reject the lie that today doesn't matter. Because it does. This step, it's your chance to choose belief. Not belief in magic, not belief in ease, belief in process, in vision, in the sacred weight of your potential. Belief that your life is not random, and that every small action is writing your legacy in ink that never fades. And let me tell you, this clarity is not born in noise. It's forged in stillness. You have to slow down to hear what your soul is saying. Strip away the distractions, the opinions, the doubts disguised as logic. The voices that echo from childhood saying, you're not enough, you're too much, you'll never make it. Silence them. Then ask yourself, what do I want my life to mean? Because this world is loud with movement that goes nowhere. Motion without purpose is a treadmill exhausting, but you never leave the room. You want real movement? You need vision. Not a dream, a vision. A dream is what you talk about. A vision is what you build. Day by day, step by step, brick by bloody brick. That vision must be so clear it blinds you to anything that doesn't align. That's when purpose takes over. And purpose doesn't scream. It doesn't beg for attention. It doesn't need validation. It's a quiet fire, steady, burning, unshakable. It will carry you when motivation dies, when inspiration fades, when the road stretches longer than you ever imagined. Because let's be honest, motivation is unreliable. Discipline is divine. It's easy to act when the mood is right, when the playlist is pumping, when the sun is shining. But how do you act when it's just you and the cold floor and a mirror that shows every flaw? That's the test. And that's where the few are separated from the many. The greats don't wait to feel like it. They move. They execute. They act. Because they've learned the truth. Feelings follow action. You want confidence? Keep promises to yourself. You want strength? Show up when it's hard. You want transformation? Do the thing every damn day, even when no one sees. That's not punishment, that's power. Because one day, all those quiet steps will scream your name in places your past self could only dream of. But not if you keep waiting. Not if you keep doubting. Not if you treat your steps like they don't matter. You have to act like everyone counts. Because they do. They always have. The only difference between those who rise and those who rot is how seriously they take the invisible steps. So stop playing small. Stop negotiating with mediocrity. Your life is not a rehearsal. There are no do-overs. This is your moment. This is your fire. This is your chance to move like it matters. Because it does. And it always did. But most people won't. Most people won't move like it matters. They'll keep waiting for a sign, waiting for permission, waiting for the fear to go away. And in that waiting, life passes them by. Not all at once, no, life is crueler than that. It slips away one ignored step at a time, one wasted hour, one broken promise, one more day of tomorrow. Until one day, they look back and realize the clock wasn't ticking forward, it was counting down. And they traded eternity for comfort. But that doesn't have to be your story. You still have the pen. You still have the time. What you do now decides what you get later. And you don't need to do everything. You just need to do the next right thing with intention, with fire, with your eyes on the life that's calling to you from the other side of your excuses. Because once you realize every step matters, you stop wasting them. You stop hanging out with people who drain your energy. You stop consuming junk that poisons your thinking. You stop filling your hours with things that don't move you closer to the life you claim to want. You get focused. You get fierce. You start walking like someone who knows where they're going, even if they're not there yet. And that's when momentum begins to build. Not because the world gets easier, but because you get stronger. Because the universe rewards clarity. It bends for the bold. And it doesn't listen to your wishes, it listens to your standards. And that's the question, isn't it? What are your standards? Not what you hope will happen, what you accept. Because life will never give you what you deserve. It gives you what you demand, what you tolerate, what you chase with relentless, unapologetic hunger. So raise your standards, not tomorrow, not next year, now. Raise the standard for your energy. Raise the standard for your effort. Raise the standard for how you speak to yourself in the quiet of the morning when no one else is around to clap for you. Because how you do anything is how you do everything. If you cut corners when no one is watching, you've already lost. If you lie to yourself to stay comfortable, you've already lost. But if you demand more from yourself, for yourself, then life starts to move differently around you. The air changes. The doors open. The world doesn't give way to the lucky. It gives way to the determined. And yet, determination isn't always loud. It doesn't always roar. Sometimes it's quiet. It's the hand that reaches for the alarm clock before the sun. The eyes that stay focused when distractions scream. The feet that keep moving through the storm, soaked and cold and alone, but unshaken. That is strength. That is power. That is you if you choose it. And yes, it is a choice. You don't become exceptional by accident. You become by design, with vision, with focus, with an unbreakable belief that this life, this one wild, sacred life, is yours to create. No one is coming to rescue you. No mentor, no guru, no perfect system or plan is going to do the reps for you. No algorithm is going to give you meaning. That is your job, your gift, your sacred burden. And when you embrace it, when you finally stop outsourcing your power, you step into a new realm. One where the fear is still there, but it doesn't control you. One where the pain still comes, but it doesn't define you. One where every step, even the smallest one, becomes a declaration that you are not here to be average. You are here to become unstoppable. And becoming isn't glamorous. It's not a highlight reel. It's not pretty. It's ugly. It's hard. It's failure on repeat until your character is forged in fire. It's saying no to ease and yes to growth. It's falling and rising and falling again. And then rising anyway. Because you understand now, it's all part of the becoming. Thomas Edison didn't stumble onto the light bulb because he was lucky. He earned it through 10,000 humiliating, painful, frustrating failures. But he never let failure become his identity. Neither should you. Because the failure isn't in falling. It's in not getting back up. It's in letting the fall become your excuse instead of your ignition. You think the great ones didn't fail? They failed more than most ever tried. They were laughed at, mocked, doubted, but they kept walking like every step mattered. Because it did. Henry Ford changed the world with his assembly line, not because he was the smartest man alive, but because he refused to be ordinary. While others followed the rules, he rewrote them. That's the power of belief aligned with relentless action. And that's the fire you need to find inside yourself. Not tomorrow. Not when it's easy. Now. While the world is still asleep. While your future self is watching, waiting, begging you not to waste another second. Act like every step matters. Because one day, and it will come, you'll look back. You'll see the steps you took. You'll see the ones you didn't. And the only question left will be, did I walk like it mattered? Did I show up with fire? Did I build something worth bleeding for? Because no one regrets trying. They regret waiting. They regret not moving. They regret all the days they told themselves the lie that this step doesn't count. But it always counts. Every step. Every time. So the question isn't whether the steps matter. The question is, do you? Do you matter enough to yourself to rise above mediocrity? Do you believe in your vision enough to take action when no one claps for you? Can you carry the weight of a dream that hasn't bloomed yet and still water it daily? Most people want the crown but fear the climb. They want the reward but hate the process. They want the destiny but not the discipline. But what if I told you? Discipline is destiny. It is the hand that shapes the clay of who you become. It is the invisible force behind every extraordinary life. Not the talent, not the charm, not the privilege. It's the fire lit every morning before the world even opens its eyes. Look at Kobe Bryant. He wasn't great because he was born gifted. He was great because he would show up at 4 a.m., take 500 shots before practice, and stay until everyone else left. He lived like every single shot mattered, not just in the game, but in the shadows. That is why he became a legend. And yet, you think your steps don't matter? You think hitting snooze one more time doesn't shape who you become? You think skipping one workout, one journal entry, one moment of effort doesn't count? Let me make it painfully clear, everything counts. Every time you choose growth over gossip, every time you choose silence over distraction, every time you choose a meaningful step over a meaningless escape, you are building you. Not the version you post online. Not the one who performs for applause. The real you. The one you wake up next to in the mirror. The one no one else sees, but you can never escape. That version of you, it's watching. And it remembers. It remembers the broken promises. It remembers the moments you backed down. But it also remembers the courage. The days you didn't feel strong but acted strong anyway. The moments when the doubt was loud, but your will was louder. That's what defines you. Not your followers. Not your bank account. Not your past. What defines you is your resilience. Your ability to get back up. To go again. To choose better. even when it hurts, because it will hurt. This journey, it's not soft. It's not gentle. It's a fire that burns away the weak parts of you. And only those who keep walking through it will rise on the other side, not as who they were, but as who they were meant to become. So stop waiting for things to get easier. You don't need easier. You need stronger. You need to look hardship in the face and say, I'm still coming. You need to stare at your excuses like enemies and take back your throne. Because yes, this life is yours. But only if you claim it, only if you earn it. And you earn it one step at a time. Through effort, through integrity, through ownership. And let's not forget, ownership means no more blaming. No more, if they supported me, I'd be further. No more, if the market was better, I'd succeed. No more, if I had more time, I'd do it. You have time. You just spend it like it's worthless. But what if you treated your time like gold? What if you guarded it like your soul? You would stop wasting it on drama, on people who don't clap for your growth, on habits that numb instead of ignite. You'd live with intent. You'd plan your day like your life depended on it, because it does. You'd study, train, focus like the world was watching, even when it's not. And one day, the world will watch. But that spotlight, that stage, that moment where everything finally clicks, it doesn't come to those who want it. It comes to those who prepare for it, who grind when no one sees, who sweat when no one cheers, who build when no one believes. You want success? Good. Now prove it. Not to me, to yourself. Because you will never out-earn your self-image. You will never outperform the beliefs you hold about who you are and what you deserve. So stop asking for a better life. Start becoming the version of you who lives it. Because here's the truth. No one wants to admit most people sabotage themselves, not because they're weak, but because they don't believe they're worthy. But let me say this, and burn it into your soul. You are worthy. Not because of what you've done, not because of what you have, but because of what you are becoming. You are a story still being written, and every step is a sentence. Every action is a paragraph. Every day is a new page. So, write something worth reading. Build something worth remembering. Walk like it matters, because one day it'll be all that mattered. One day, someone will ask how you did it, how you went from where you were broken, unsure, doubting yourself to where you are, how you rose when everything said you should fall, how you kept walking when the road disappeared. And you'll look them in the eye and say something they may not understand right away. I made every step count. Not just the obvious ones, not just the victories, but the days when it felt meaningless, the days when progress was invisible, the days when it was easier to quit, but you didn't, because you understood something most people never will. Progress doesn't ask for permission to show up. It hides. It disguises itself in silence. And if you don't trust in the process, you'll miss the miracle. You think mountains are moved in one motion? They erode grain by grain with time, wind, and water. Success is the same. It's not built in the shout, it's built in the whisper. In the way you speak to yourself when no one hears. In the choices you make when no one sees. In the invisible decisions that seem to make no difference until one day they make all the difference. You are not just walking, you are carving a path. And that path is what others will walk on one day. Your children, your peers, your future self. And they won't remember every word you said, but they will feel the weight of how you walked. So walk in truth. Walk in integrity. Walk in fire. Stop drifting through your days like they're disposable, because they are not. Each day is sacred. A canvas, a test, a chance. To rise, to become. To move with the weight of someone who knows they are building something eternal, because that's what legacy is. It's not a plaque, it's not an award, it's not applause. It's the echo of your footsteps in someone else's journey. It's the unseen fingerprints you leave on the world by being fully you, day after day, step after step. That is what matters. And you already have everything you need. Not someday. Now, the tools? Inside you. The answers? Inside you. The greatness? Waiting not to be found, but to be unleashed. But only if you stop walking like your life is a rehearsal. Only if you stop pretending your purpose is on hold until you feel ready. There is no ready. There is only the decision to rise, to move anyway, to act with courage, not certainty, to trade comfort for conviction. And yes, you will lose things. You will lose approval. You will lose comfort. You will lose parts of yourself you thought were permanent. But what you gain is freedom. Freedom from mediocrity. Freedom from regret. Freedom from the slow death of maybe one day. You become someone the world can't ignore. Not because you shout, but because you show up relentlessly, truthfully, unapologetically. Because here's what no one tells you about success. It doesn't change you, it reveals you. It strips away the mask. It exposes your habits, your patterns, your truth. It puts a mirror in front of your soul and asks, is this who you want to be? So be ready. Not just for the spotlight. Be ready for the silence before it. The pressure, the sacrifice, the cost, because it's high. But the cost of not becoming who you were meant to be, that cost is higher. A life of unspoken dreams. A lifetime of almosts. A soul screaming in the dark, wondering what could have been. You're not here for that. You are here to burn, to become a force, to wake up with purpose and go to bed empty because you gave everything that day. Every ounce of fire, every breath of belief, every step like it mattered. Because it does. So what do you do now? You stop hesitating. You stop looking around for signs. You stop negotiating with your potential. And you decide. Decide to move. Decide to rise. Decide that your life, every breath, every step, every failure, every fight is not a mistake, but a masterpiece in progress. One step at a time. Until one day, you no longer need to ask if the steps mattered. You'll know because they built you, and you were worth building.